Okay, gonna do this kind of quietly because we're in the airport and I don't like to bother people. But this is our July 4th weekend starting out. Okay, so normally we wouldn't do this type of video, but this is basically what we're doing right now. We are headed to Atlanta and then to Savannah to pick up a young lady that my daughter and I, Shaw and I, met in film school. She needs to get out, and we've decided that we're going to go help her get out. So we're driving our U-Haul back. She's about 4'2". She'll get mad at me when I say that, but she's about 4'2" tall. She's a little Thai gal. She's 32 years old. She's a sweetheart. She's a little scatterbrained, and it's like I wasn't going to allow her to drive a U-Haul towing a trailer all the way from Savannah to Utah. So I said, let's just go ahead and do it for her. So we had her buy a plane ticket so she's flying on the 4th of July. We are going in today is the 1st of July.
Yep.
And we are going to go there. And tomorrow we'll meet some people that we know there in Savannah, because obviously we were there. We're hoping to meet some people for lunch and dinner. We're gonna have a good time, quick, meet up. Sunday we're turning around and coming right back home because, you know what? We both gotta go back to work. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. We're gonna document kind of the whole trip, do the best we can to kind of let you know what we're doing. Because, hey, that's part of what we do on this S&K Workshop. We try and help people. So that's what we do. So, yeah, stay tuned because there's gonna be a whole lot more adventures involved. So we'll take some pictures, we'll do some videos of what we got going on. So our adventure was gonna begin at 12:59 a.m. And if you'll notice, it's now going to start at 2:26 a.m. to Atlanta. So we got a long night ahead of us. Pretty long night, and then a 4-hour drive from Atlanta to Savannah, and all sorts of fun. Okay, follow along for the enjoyment. It's only going to get better, I can tell. Savannah Airport.
Hi. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
The baby?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're headed down, got to Atlanta. There we are. Fun times. We have arrived at Atlanta Airport. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Alright, get to see some of the joys of Atlanta Airport. We're going to get on a train to get out of here. So it's kind of fun. We're in the decon course, and we're headed to ground transportation, all that jazz. Big train. That's the fun of Atlanta right there. People on, people off. Whoops, let's get people off. Oh, I guess we're gonna get people on. Go over here, get on another train. Sky train. To go to the rental center. Skytrain, north entrance. Alright, here we go. Just have a train that connects to a train that connects to a train. And sticks you on another escalator that sticks you on a deal to go to a train. Alright, you gotta see this. We are up in the air. Up in the air. This is the Sky Train. We're gonna go to the rental car center. Down below, that's the airport over there. Please stand clear for. Stand clear. Train is arriving. What do you think? Are we crazy? Are we completely nuts? It's quite the deal.
We're crazy.
Yeah, we're nuts. Okay, we're on the freeway. Atlanta already had a traffic jam Saturday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Crazy business. So we're headed to Savannah. We are picking up U-Haul tomorrow. We'll be on our way back up to Atlanta to get rid of the rental car. I know, seems a little weird, but it was cheaper that way. Trying to help save some money. We're paying for the rental car because we're going to pay for it anyway. So up and down the roads we go. Just a bunch of driving to do a bunch of driving to do a bunch more driving. So we're getting closer to Savannah. This is kind of the Georgia, what we call the Georgia pines. There's a lot of tall trees around there. For us folks in Utah, don't mean to make fun of the way we talk, but there's a lot of trees here. It's still pretty green. So, thought we'd show you we go on Highway Interstate 16 headed to Savannah. So we stepped out of the elevator from our parking garage and stepped right into Savannah, man. This is Savannah. Downtown. We're gonna get some good shots of this, but this is downtown Savannah. It's kind of like, yep, there you go. This is a newer place, but it's got the same vibe. We'll take some pictures of a lot of the older stuff. Show you Factors Row, and River Street, and all that fun stuff. We'll show you. There's some good stuff to be had. We're right here on the river. Okay, just down onto River Street in Savannah. What you see behind me here is fake rock, but all of the rock down here, and I'll show you in a second, come off of ships as ballast. Years ago, when the ships came in, they brought rock in as ballast, and they take stuff out, and they would leave the rock. And so this whole entire street is paved with the rock that they brought in. So let's take a look. This rock right here, none of it is native to this area. There's really no rock anywhere in Savannah. And it's one of those cool things that Savannah offers. This is River Street. This is a great big hotel. It's not really indicative of what River Street is. We get up here a little ways, I'll show you, kind of show you what River Street looks like. It's kind of cool. So here we go. Okay, Savannah waterfront. Colony of Georgia began on Savannah's waterfront in 1733. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but this kind of tells you what it's about. This is the river. They actually call it not River Walk, but this is River Street. As you can kind of see now, this is old Savannah. All of this here, down in here, you look all the way down in here. Oh yeah, the counting house, the money folks. Now here's the sad part of the history, which, as you'll see these people coming right along here, what they call Factors Walk. That's where they used to house the slaves, where they would sell them. That's kind of a sad part of the history, but obviously it's part of history because this area was built by slaves quite a bit. Cotton wagons in it, yeah. Unload the cotton and do all that stuff. Onto the ships and stuff. And then again, all of this rock you see is all off the ships. Especially the rock up in here. That's all definitely old ballast. This rock that's a little more evenly shaped is not necessarily. Is it? Okay, so it is. Same thing all the way around. Okay, cool. So we'll take some pictures of that, but this is Savannah. This is where it comes from. Okay, so another shot of it. Here's an interesting factoid about myself. I've actually worked 2 different films in Savannah. One of them was the Amazon series Underground Railroad. The other one, actually 3. So I also worked what they call Crime Story, which was anyway, we're not gonna talk about that. And a Hallmark movie that I worked here. A lot of it I did some down here, and I did some in town and all around. But these are places that I've been, spent a little bit of time working, and then standing here watching the river, and it's kind of cool because the boat, big, huge, massive container ships that go up at least as high as this up in here, and then they just eclipse basically everything that's in here. It's pretty cool. Imagine all this 1700s, 1800s. This is what Savannah was. I mean, this is downtown Savannah, basically, as far as that time period goes. Exchange for cotton, for slaves. Cotton was pretty much the big thing around here, wasn't it? Cotton and rice, that's right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there used to be a lot of rice plantations here. And then Henry Ford even came in years ago. Started with the rice plantations and had a lot of stuff going on. And this is part of Factor's Walk up in here. And the exchange. This is the cotton, called the Cotton Exchange right here. And that's where it is. And we're headed down to this little place called Savannah Candy Kitchen, which is the originator of the praline, right? It's called a praline. It's a candy that I don't. Yeah, it's something I don't care for. Pecans and caramel type concoction that my wife loves to death. So we're gonna take it back. Christmas on the river, because I'm Santa Claus, you know. Look, I didn't say that because I know Santa Claus. It's a good thing. So here you go. We're gonna go check out the Savannah Candy Kitchen.
Like truffle cookies.
Yeah, they're also.
Oops, sorry. Sorry if you're diabetic. I apologize. I'll be sending you to a diabetic shop at this point in time. Oh boy. Interesting factoid here. We're right by the Savannah Candy Kitchen, but also the Boar's Head, the part of the movie that I worked on, was filmed here. But it was before I actually went to work. My daughter was working on the movie at the time. Richard Dreyfuss, Mira Sorvino. Anyway, they filmed at the Boar's Head. This is where I actually came and got work from them the first time. I said, hey, I'll take a job driving for you. So, a job I took and I quite enjoyed, except it was kind of a rough job. There's a lot of stories to go with that. Talk about that a whole nother different time. Boar's Head, famous place here in Savannah. Thought we'd go ahead and talk a little bit more about Factor's Walk, because you can see, and you'll see here some of these little white, those are actually shells. They use that in the concrete. And of course, Martha, get the side on. The rock was used from the ballast, from the ships. And then this is Factor's Walk. Up on top, you had your buyers, be it cotton, rice, or unfortunately slaves. And this is Factor's Walk. They would get up on top. We'll show you some shots from up top. In fact, we can walk right up here and we'll show you exactly what it's like from up top. Stairs here, made out of rock, and they are steep. They got quite the little climb coming up. We'll walk over here to Factor's Walk for you. Give you a bird's eye view of the Factor's Walk. Again, as the commodities came in, this is where these buyers would stand on top on these bridges. The bridges go into their buildings, and they would bid on whatever commodity was they were bidding on. These are originals. Some repaired, some made stronger, some older, some newer. But this is where they did all their business. And they called it Factor's Walk because, and there's a history of Factor. It's money exchange, something, I don't know, somebody correct me on this, but it has something to do with money, obviously. But these are the brokers. The brokers, the guys that would come and buy this stuff. And as you can see, bridges all along. When you go down the other side, you can see the slaves' quarters where they held them before they sold them. And again, it's part of history. Not something we necessarily glorify, but it's something we can't deny. It is part of history. That happened. It was a real thing. Savannah still has a rich history, and it is fun to enjoy that history, but also to remember it solemnly that people were sold here, which was never a good thing. One of the other oddities of Savannah and the surrounding area is Spanish moss. In the live oak trees especially, these are live oak trees. This is what adds to the spookiness, the mystery of Savannah and its ghost culture, which is also another very, very, very big thing. Also, guys, just so you know, there's a park in here in town, and I think it's Chickasaw, is where the bench scene for Forrest Gump was filmed. It's Chickasaw Park. Been there. The whole entirety of Savannah is built around a park theme. Basically squares. The squares, not parks, the squares. And that's kind of how they built the whole entirety of Savannah. Kind of fun to know. If you've never been here, you ought to come. It's kind of fun. Really kind of cool. I'm pretty sure this bridge right here is newer by quite a bit. But this literally is how you got down onto River Street. And then this is, you crossed over. I'm pretty sure the bridge here was probably made out of wood back in the day. I don't have any history on that necessarily, but this is kind of cool because this shows you to the river. And right now, this river is one of the biggest. It's in the very big category of container ships and ports on the East Coast. Old Savannah Cotton Exchange. So we saw that from the other side. This is the Cotton Exchange. Okay, there's the building, Savannah Cotton Exchange. This is the building where all the cotton was basically come in, set up along in Factor's Walk so that they could bid on it and they could put it on ships and take it out. And this is the back side. Well, actually this is the business side, really. This is the business side. So this is where everything occurred, and then the other side, of course, is just the opening to the river, which would then be shipping and all that. Here it is. So this is one of those sites in Savannah that a lot of people do not talk about, which is kind of funny because it's actually got a great little story. They were presented to Chatham Artillery by President Washington after his visit to Savannah in 1791. And Martha was reminding me that they were stolen from the British and given, so anyway, they were given to the city and the county to protect Savannah. Well, guess what? Then there was a Civil War. And Lee came through town and decided that he was going to, as he did, he burned everything, right? Well, Sherman, sorry, Sherman, I got the wrong one. Sherman comes through town, he wants to burn everything. When he gets to Savannah, first of all, they realized he was coming. They buried these guns underneath in the ground. They buried them in the ground to keep them safe as Sherman came through town. Of course, Sherman did not burn Savannah. He gave it to Lincoln as a Christmas present. And and said, hey, we don't want to burn it, which is the reason why Savannah has still such a rich history, because it was not burned. But these guns were then unearthed again, and I'd have to look and see exactly when they were dug back up, but they were brought back out and put on display after all of that, of course, so that they could be preserved. And it's kind of a cool story, and a lot of people don't know this story, and it was kind of fun when I learned it the first time. It's quite fun to understand. Captured from Lord Cornwallis. Okay, so then it also says something about and Franklin Roosevelt, Grover Cleveland, Millard Fillmore. Goes through the whole entire list for the people who have come to visit Savannah. It's just kind of cool. It says right there, they were buried beneath the Chatham Artillery Armory and were not removed until 1872 when the federal occupation troops had departed. Taken to Yorktown in 1881 by a contingent of the Chatham Artillery and led the parade of centennial celebration, Cornwallis surrendered. Kind of fun story. A lot of people do not hear about Savannah. It's kind of fun to see that. Kind of fun little fact here. We had lunch right here at this little English pub. And then right next to it is the Moon River Brewery. The Moon River Brewery. The song Moon River was actually written about Savannah. But the Moon River Brewery, we had one of the little movies I worked on. We had a little bit of a kind of an impromptu rap party at that little brewery. I didn't even realize this pub was here. It's an English pub. It's actually quite good. We had lunch there today. It's kind of fun to come see. Savannah Culinary Institute, which is part of the Savannah Tech, which is where myself, my daughter, and now Meredith that you'll meet, we all did our film technician school. It was a 2-semester school. Just, fun fact. Apparently the culinary thing's not gotten started here yet. Been dragging their feet. Now here's some Georgia pines right here. Back road where we used to live. Okay, this is Mary. I exaggerated. She's not 4'2". She's 5'2". She's teeny tiny though, little bitty. She's just little bitty.